Hello, my name is Dr. Shawnee Collins Woods. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome to AskDrShawnee.com. I am an assistant professor of social work and author, the author of the She Devotional, The Struggle is Real, but You Can Succeed, and Healthy Love 365. I'm also a speaker as well as a writer and a person of faith. On this channel, you will receive nuggets of wisdom about self care, success, healthy relationships, and healthy boundaries. Today, I am starting a series entitled Professional Development Wednesdays. And today's topic is how to become an adjunct faculty member. As I noted earlier, I am an assistant professor of social work, but I have been teaching at the collegiate level for about 14 years, going on 15 years. I started in 2007 working at a community college. That was my first teaching gig. I was so nervous. I was a PhD student at the University of Alabama, but it was really a great opportunity for me to delve into teaching at the collegiate level. And as I meet students and people across my path, oftentimes individuals are looking for knowledge. They may not know how to tap into the educational sector, the higher educational sector. So I just want to share nuggets of wisdom. I have always been surrounded by great mentors and people who have been willing to share information with me, to impart information to me, and to really help shape the trajectory of my life. And so that's come from family members, my mom, dad, community members, people within my extended circle of influence. And so I'm grateful for that. And I do recognize that a lot of individuals simply just don't have anyone to mentor them, to coach them, or to just tell them, hey, this is how you tap into this particular area of life. And so as I'm always seeking out information for myself to advance myself professionally, personally, spiritually, you know, physically, I also, look for ways to help uplift other people, particularly people who just are seeking information, who don't just know, have all the right connections, or who don't know how to get started. So today I'm going to talk about becoming an adjunct faculty. And why is this topic important? We are in a pandemic, right? COVID-19 is real, and we are moving into the fourth wave of the pandemic. And essentially, we are getting vaccinated, but a lot of businesses have shut down. Some things have reopened, some states have reopened, but if you've been following the news and following the trends, we can see that there are different strands of COVID-19 emerging. And so we still have to be very careful. And I would not be surprised if businesses start to shut down again and close again because of a rise in COVID-19 numbers. And so hopefully people are out there getting their vaccine or getting vaccinated and being careful, social distancing, wearing their masks. But until all of this is resolved, and we don't know when it will be resolved, we just are, operating you know, on a basis that really we're just trying to still figure it out. And I say this to say this relates to education and teaching as an adjunct because, as you know, the educational system has changed. No longer are students basically in front of the classroom. Why? Because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19 and the risk of, children dying, the risk of college students dying, the risk of professors dying, the risk of teachers dying, and parents being exposed. So we are trying to limit exposure to COVID-19. And because of that, that has changed the way students are learning, the way parents are, signing their kids up for school. And it has definitely impacted higher education. This means a lot of our traditional brick and mortar schools are no longer, operating as a, functional day to day campus where students are in and out and where faculty are in and out of the classroom. Everything in terms of teaching has changed. And so the model, and we know that online classes have been around for many, many, many years, but some schools had not fully adopted an online model. So this means that more people are strictly taking their education 100% online. And that model is going to be around for many, many, many years to come. It was already around before, but for those schools who, were not 100% online, big changes have occurred as a result of the pandemic. So this presents a great opportunity for you if you are interested in teaching to jump right into higher education. Let's say the pandemic impacted your employment and you have been looking for a job. Let's say you are highly educated or you are in the process of, earning a master's degree or getting a terminal degree and you need a job. Well, it is the perfect time for you to think about adjuncting. So I'm going to share with you three quick tips on how to integrate into the higher education arena as an adjunct faculty. So, what is an adjunct faculty? When you consider the landscape of any college or university setting, you will have faculty members, and these are individuals who serve in the classroom. They teach students, they advise students, they lead departmental meetings. They, are responsible for maintaining clubs and organizations. Those individuals would primarily be considered your core faculty. So, within a university setting, let's say the University of Texas, you may have in a Department of Criminal Justice, for example, you may have 10 to 15 core faculty who teach a majority of the classes in the criminal justice program, in their bachelor's program, in their master's program. But then a majority of the other classes would probably be taught by adjunct faculties and adjunct faculty members. And these are individuals who are not core faculty, who are not full time, who are not perhaps on a tenure track appointment. So you see the difference. Core faculty would probably be on tenure track, probably be more permanent faculty. Adjunct faculty perhaps can come and go as they choose or are hired on an ad need basis, and they are hired at the will of the chair. So, step one, to become an adjunct faculty, you need to have earned at least 18 graduate hours in a particular field or have a master's degree. So 18 graduate hours means that you have taken graduate courses at some university, whether it's an online university or a traditional brick and mortar university. It will be better if you have or if you're applying for the job with an actual master's degree. However, some departments and universities are flexible and you can probably negotiate or advocate for yourself. So you must have 18 graduate hours or a master's degree to really get that adjunct faculty appointment. So that's step one. So if you are looking at adjunct, go back to school. If you don't have a master's degree, enroll in the program, get 18 hours, and start applying for positions and go ahead and finish that master's degree. Okay, so look for the requirements at the university you seek to work for and make contact with the program director, the chairperson, and sometimes it can even be the dean. It just depends on who is listed on that particular website associated with that particular department. Usually, however, the chair is the person who sort of makes that final recommendation, who is interviewing you, or a particular program director. So make sure you're reaching out and looking online to see what's available, what opportunities are available through the human resources portion of that particular website, university's website, and make sure you're looking to see who the chair is, who the dean is, or who the person is who will kind of be making the hiring decision for that particular department. If you do not have a master's degree in a particular area, you can simply explain that you do have real world experience and hey, you do have 18 hours. And so use whatever experience you have. Let's say you taught at a high school for about 10 years and you don't necessarily have collegiate level experience. Teaching experience is valuable, whether it's coming from an elementary setting to a higher education setting because it's still the same general principles. Are you able to lead in the classroom? Are you able to manage a classroom? Are you able to communicate effectively with students? Are you able to motivate and encourage your students? So those principles don't necessarily change. And you can always learn to adapt to teaching at the collegiate level. I had zero collegiate level experience when I started. I was just a PhD student and I knew that I had gotten accepted to a PhD program. And so I was applying for adjunct positions because I just knew that's what the next step was. If I was going to be a doctoral student, obviously, you're seeking to get your PhD, seeking to become an educator. So I applied at the local university in the area. And sure enough, the same month I started my PhD program, I was hired at an actual community college, and I just started teaching an intro class. So use what you have. You don't have to have experience going in, but use what you have. Make sure you advocate for yourself. Make sure you talk yourself up, and make sure you shore up any volunteer experience, any experience you have leading groups. That is all relevant to the arena of teaching. Step two, make sure you have your paperwork in order. A lot of times when we are seeking positions, an opportunity can, become available, and someone may say, hey, go ahead and email me your resume, or go ahead and email me your curriculum vitae. You don't want to be that person who's around here like, oh my God, where is it? Or I don't have it created. You want to have your paperwork together to the extent that you can, and have things in order so that if someone offers you an opportunity on the spot, you never know who you may meet in McDonald's, or who you may meet in the Starbucks line, or who you may meet, at the local restaurant, who says, I have a perfect opportunity for you. You're an ideal candidate. Just send me your information. So you want to have your things together, the paperwork that you need. And so when you start talking about teaching in higher education, the requirements and standards are different. We don't necessarily use traditional resumes in a sense, and so a resume is important to have. I would encourage you to have a resume, and you can Google what that looks like if you don't know one, what a resume looks like. But in education, you will need a curriculum vitae, which is a resume in a sense, but it also details your publications, some of your teaching experience, any presentations or manuscripts, and things of that nature, anything you've done within the community. So look up curriculum vitae. You can see what those examples would look like. But when you're applying for a job, particularly in adjunct instructor position, you will need a curriculum vitae. Some jobs ask for a resume, so have your resume and a vitae. Just have those on handy. If you haven't created one, there are plenty of examples and templates online. Just Google resume, Google curriculum vitae. Also, you will need to have professional references. You don't have to have letters necessarily up front. Some job applications do ask for those references up front, but I would encourage you to have a list of 4 to 5, even to 6 people who would not mind speaking highly of you if they offered you an interview. So have that person's name, their title, their designation, their address, their professional address, a professional email address, and an operational phone number. So get this for 5 to 6 individuals, and just make in a simple Word document, have professional references, and list those individuals. Sometimes you can list 3 references, you can go up to 5. It just depends on your personal preference, but have people in place who are willing to speak up for you and to speak to your character and to give you a good stamp of approval, and who will be responsive. So let's say, they're asking you to send in information really quickly, which sometimes happens. You want someone who's going to flip that information right back to your prospective employer in a timely manner. So sometimes we do miss out on opportunities by not having paperwork together. So again, get that resume vita together. Make sure you have professional references available, a list of people who will speak to your character, who know you well. Also, make sure you have a strong cover letter as well as a teaching philosophy statement. And a teaching philosophy statement essentially is an explanation of how you would lead in a particular classroom. What is your philosophy as it relates to teaching? What is your view on teaching? And how do you blend teaching with making sure that you're connecting with students and making sure you're connecting with research and scholarships? So how do you make all of that connect? Because that's what we do in academia. We are not just teachers, but we also research, we also educate, we're also community advocates, change agents, particularly in the field of social work. So again, references, CV, resume, just have one handy. Make sure you have your teaching philosophy statement together. Have that paperwork in order, and also make sure that when you are, submitting your job applications, that you're being very intentional about not using the wrong university's name on your CV or on the cover letter. Make sure you're changing things and being very tedious about, proofreading your work as it relates to that in terms of your paperwork. Okay. The third point I would like to note when you're thinking about becoming an adjunct instructor is do not be afraid to work in an area that is not related to your field of expertise. For example, I have a master's degree in Africana Women's Studies from Clark Atlanta University. So you may not necessarily find a position that is advertised specifically as Africana Women's Studies adjunct instructor. You're not maybe not necessarily find that unless I go right back to the school where I earned my degree from, Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta may not have any openings, but just because it's not necessarily in my particular area or my specific degree program, it doesn't mean I can't teach in the area. I still can teach um, history or African American studies because I still have that background in education. So don't be afraid to work in an area that is not related to your field. You never know what position may become available. Someone may say, "Hey, I see that you're applying for this position um, in let's say sports administration." Well, we don't have any job openings right now in sports administration, but would you be willing to serve as a leader or a instructor in this other area? And maybe when a position opens up, we'll see if you qualify for that and maybe you can apply. I think if those opportunities present themselves, which happens all the time in higher education, you should take that opportunity, even though it may not necessarily align with your particular degree program, because oftentimes one opportunity can lead to another opportunity. So if you feel comfortable and you feel that that particular opportunity may not match your degree program or your background in training, still take it because teaching experience is going to be relevant to you, if you are planning on having a long-term career in higher education. So don't necessarily decline a position because it's not exactly your major or what you majored in or what you want to do. Think broader and think about the bigger picture. Think about just getting the experience. Think about getting your foot in the door. And I said I had 3 points, but I also want to mention this point. Don't be afraid of teaching that intro class. You could have a PhD or master's degree. You still may be required to teach an intro class. I teach an intro class every summer, and it's nothing wrong with that. And as I was mentioning earlier, don't be afraid to teach out of your particular content area, because you never know what opportunities may become available. So teach those intro classes, especially if you're new, a first timer, you're looking to get your feet wet. Teach intro because those classes are easy. A lot of times the curriculum is easy to follow. Things are already outlined for you. Everything is going to be pretty simple, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself, especially if you are teaching a multiple course assignment, or let's say you have multiple sections of the same course or two different sections of a course. You want something that's going to be kind of easy for you to kind of navigate your way through the whole process. So those are my professional tips for integrating into the arena of higher education. So number one, get at least 18 hours of graduate hours, 18 graduate hours of coursework behind you, behind your name, and definitely get that master's degree because the university is going to want that. They will want that of you. Stay in touch with the chair. Look online at your particular university of interest. See who is leading that particular program and give them an email. Contact them. Ask them about opportunities. Number two, have your paperwork in order. This means getting a resume, CV, cover letter, teaching philosophy statement, and a list of professional references. Have those handy. Create a Dropbox folder. Have those individual, documents saved in the folder. So when it's time for you to apply for your particular positions, all you have to do is move those files over to your electronic application. The next step is don't be afraid to work out of your particular subject matter because you never know where those opportunities may take you. Also, don't be afraid to take on intro classes. They should not be beneath you. It is a way for you to get your foot in the door, and those intro classes give you experience underneath your belt and can lead you to greater opportunities down the road. So those are my tips for integrating into higher education. If you'd like to see part two of this video where I can discuss more specifics about adjuncting and what a course load or a teaching load might look like, please feel free to let me know. Send me an email to info at askdrshani.com, and I'll be happy to share more insight with you. So those are my professional development tips for today. Please feel free to ask me questions in the area of professional development. And what do you want to know? I'm happy to share with you if I'm able to share. So just tell me what you want to know, and I will definitely make a video that sort of speaks to your particular question. So again, follow me on all social media sites at Ask Dr. Shani. I have a website as well as YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Email me at info@askdrshani.com. Thank you. And if you have any questions, again, stay in touch with me. I appreciate you for watching this video. Give this video a big thumbs up. And until the next time for our professional development series, I will just be in touch. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.